A movie isn't a movie without its goodies and baddies. Goodies save the world from evil super spies, monsters and more doing things that others simply couldn't do. Except that's not so true. Some of these so-called heroes have been given an easy ride. I'm Cal from What Culture, you can follow me on Twitter here, and here is 10 heroic movie characters who actually didn't affect the plot. Number 10. Luke Skywalker, Return of the Jedi. Though Luke Skywalker is instrumental to the end of the first and fourth Star Wars movie, by the time of the final, the best series edition to date comes around. He's basically an overly emotional invested sidekick in his own story. It's not like Luke would ever have been able to convince anyone that Vader wasn't evil. It was just his word against the experiences of everybody else, and that's some mighty strong evidence that Vader is a bad, bad man, cue John Cena. Had Luke not presented during the events of Return to the Jedi, the ending would still have gone exactly the same. Number 9. Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is presented as the underdog tale of a teenager motivated by desires to get laid, who takes on a mob empire despite almost inevitable death and triumphs, except he totally doesn't. All he does is ensure something that was definitely going to happen, happens later and at a greater cost, by interfering. Everything would have played out exactly the same way, except a teenage boy wouldn't have to pay thousands to a US medical system, and he probably wouldn't have got laid. Big Daddy, not that one, and Hit Girl would have probably taken down the D'Amico family without too much innocent blood spilled, since they were already well on the road to sorting out the particular problem before he got in the way and made himself walk-in targets. Number 8. Cameron Poe, Con Air. Nicolas Cage ruins a lot of things, but he seems to get a free pass for his character's idiocy in Con Air, because he utters the greatest line of, "Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?" All Poe does is get the undercover man killed and take his place, which doesn't really matter since he proves himself to be mostly useless apart from stuffed buddy lines. What is he good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Absolutely nothing. Well, other than apparently redeeming himself for his initial crime of self-defense and protecting a pregnant woman that comes with a mandatory prison time in Con Air's stupid world. Number 7. Truman, The Truman Show. Jim Carrey's character in The Truman Show changes quite a considerable amount by the end of the film, free from perpetual invasive cameras that track his entire life without his knowledge, and he's now able to go back to reality. But that's as likely as Paddy McGuinness hosting a show with some worth or value. No like it, no like it, someone riding Peter Kay's coattails. Truman will be followed by cameras everywhere regardless now, requested to go on TV appearances, and his life will be invaded, but this time it'll be less scripted, kind of. Number 6. Harry Potter, all of his films. The end result of the Wizarding World would have been exactly the same had Harry Potter disappeared himself. Voldemort wouldn't have been able to find the Philosopher's Stone at the end of the first year, as Harry wouldn't have basically taken him there and handed it to him. And even if Quirrell had managed it another way, surely other Hogwarts students and the Ministry of Magic would have pulled together and taken him and the Death Eaters out. Hermione gives Harry all of the information he needs to take down Voldemort because she's a know-it-all, or she's read the books first, and Ron and Neville prove themselves to be more than capable. No matter which way you look at it, Harry being present or not wouldn't have changed the fact that Voldemort would have failed to take over the world. However, we wouldn't have had that viral a cappella group of them. And actually, Harry's the worst on it, Snape's the best there. Number 5. The Reverend Mel Gibson, Signs. The climax of the film features the revelation that the alien invaders are fatally averse to water. The invaders are thus defeated when Mel Gibson's brother throws glasses of water on one of them after hitting him with a baseball bat. You know, as you do. No matter how impressive that the short-term victory is, it ignores the fact that the aliens have attempted to invade a planet which is made up of about 70% water, where it rains everywhere, well it does in Britain anyway, and where all their troops will keep dying. That's like putting Newcastle fans in a room where red and white memorabilia is kept. Number 4. The Inglourious Basterds. Tarantino's World War II fantasy is crowned with a shot of Hitler's face being completely stomped into smithereens as the rest of the high-level Nazi cronies are killed by the bastards' carefully placed bombs in the cinema, making all cinema-goers a little uneasy in checking under their seat. Had the bastards not bowled in and threatened to sabotage everything by drawing the attentions of Hans Landa, the plan would have gone off without a hitch. The Nazis would have been perished and the credits would have rolled in the world without Hitler. All the bastards actually had are a typhoon of bullets and more unnecessary dead bodies. Number 3. Tom Cruise, The Army, War of the Worlds. At the end of the film, the aliens die thanks to their remarkably short-sighted pre-invasion planning, sneezing themselves to a spectacular death. Apparently, aliens really aren't as smart as they seem to be. See Men in Black and American Dad if you don't believe me. I think that's a good enough cross-section of aliens. Despite the fact that he is believed as the hero, Tom Cruise manages to do absolutely nothing to affect the overall outcome of the doomed invasion. Had he been killed in the first seconds, the world would still have been saved from long-term harm, and all of those people who would have died would have still died, and all the sneezes would still be sneezing. Number 2. Indiana Jones, The Temple of Doom. Everyone loves Indiana Jones. He saves the world, proves the existence of gods and of aliens even though they're stupid, see earlier, and he makes archaeologists look a lot more colourful and a lot more cooler than they actually are. All of this while still being scared of snakes, so his demographic includes at least every human who likes living, religious folk, UFO believers, archaeologists, and snake cowers with big dreams. In the Temple of Doom, when Indy manages to end Mola Ram's attempt to find and use the lost magical stones, the world is saved and Indy is proclaimed the hero, despite the fact that Mola tried to flood the mines and kill Indy earlier in the film. And Indy had the stones on him, thus achieving exactly the same result that Indy managed when the stones are lost forever in the river. Makes sense, doesn't it? Number 1. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's right, Indy has taken both top spots. That would be a win on any other list. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indy merely delays the Nazis finding the Ark. Regardless of all his supposedly heroic actions, he might as well have not turned up. Although he does save his ex Marion from death, but even then, him not turning up would have saved her from Indy abusing her fragile heart for a second time. And yet he's universally loved for his heroism. Take a long, hard look at yourself, world. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.